Welcome to History, Myth, and Legend, the podcast where gods clash, monsters roam, and drama rules the day. We're not here for the dry textbook versions. We're here to retell the myths your teacher skipped, the wild, weird, and downright epic tales from the cultures around the world. In our first series, we're diving into creation myths, how the world began according to the legends that shaped civilizations. Buckle up, because the ancient world was anything but boring. As many know, the creation of the world in the Bible, according to Christianity, is the same as it is in Judaism. They are both from the Old Testament. If you've ever opened a Bible, you've read the famous opening words. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. It's a sentence that has echoed across centuries, shaping the spiritual imagination of billions. Christianity and Judaism, two of the world's major monotheistic religions, both draw from this same foundational story of how the world came to be. And while interpretations vary, the heart of the tale remains the same. A single, all-powerful God who brings the universe into being, with intention, purpose, and care. Let's dive into this ancient story of light, life, and divine design. Both Judaism and Christianity trace their creation story to the book of Genesis, the very first book of the Hebrew Bible, also known to Christians as the Old Testament. Here's a simplified walk through the 6 days that changed everything. Day 1, let there be light. God separates light from darkness, creating day and night. Day 2, sky above, waters below. A vast expanse, the sky, divides the waters, an earthly cosmic architecture. Day 3, earth, sea, and green things. God gathers the waters into seas and brings forth dry land, trees, and plants. Day 4, sun, moon, and stars. Lights are placed in the heavens to govern day and night, marking seasons and time. Day 5, fish and birds. God fills the seas with swimming creatures and the sky with birds. Day 6, animals and humans. God creates land animals and finally humans, made in God's image, to steward creation. Day 7, rest. God rests, and so the Sabbath is born, a holy day of reflection and peace. One of the most striking parts of the Genesis story is the creation of humans, not as accidents or afterthoughts, but as intentional reflections of the divine. In Genesis 1:27 it states, "So God created mankind in his own image." In both Judaism and Christianity, this idea forms the spiritual bedrock for concepts like human dignity, moral responsibility, and the sacredness of life. Humans are not gods, but they are God-like in their ability to create, choose, love, and reason. Interestingly, Genesis gives us two creation stories side by side. In the second account, Genesis 2, we meet Adam, the first man formed for dust, and Eve, the first woman made from Adam's rib. God places them in the Garden of Eden, a paradise full of beauty, freedom, and one forbidden tree. This version focuses less on the cosmic structure of creation and more on human nature, choice, and relationship. It introduces themes of temptation, disobedience, and the beginnings of moral struggle, laying the groundwork for what Christians later call original sin. In Judaism, the creation story emphasizes God's sovereignty and humankind's duty to care for the earth. The world is good, not perfect, but meant to be made better through justice, kindness, and faithfulness. The Sabbath, the seventh day of rest, is a central practice in Jewish life, a reminder that creation is not just about work, but also about balance, holiness, and community. While Christianity shares the Genesis story with Judaism, it also connects it to a larger narrative arc, one that includes the fall of humanity, the coming of Jesus Christ, and the promise of new creation. In Christian theology, the world was made good, but fell into disorder through sin. Jesus, seen as the Son of God, comes not only to save people, but to restore creation itself, a kind of spiritual reboot pointing toward a renewed heaven and earth. Whether you read Genesis as literal history or symbolic myth, its impact is undeniable. The creation story in Christianity and Judaism invites us to see the world not as random chaos, but as a divine masterpiece, a place of meaning, order, and moral consequence. It asks big questions. What does it mean to be human? What is our relationship with nature? What happens when we choose knowledge over obedience, our freedom over harmony? And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us we are not just in the world. We are part of its story. And just like that, from chaos, from void, from cosmic eggs, talking animals, sacred trees, and occasional dismembered God, the world was born. Over the past few episodes, we've been seeing the universe spun from spiderwebs, sung into being, sculpted from clay, and even bartered into existence by gods with questionable negotiation skills. One thing's for sure, every culture has a story, and every story tells us something about how we see ourselves. Whether you believe the world hatched from an egg or exploded out of nothingness, it's clear creation is messy, wild, divine, and kind of awesome. But don't pack up your scrolls and star charts just yet. We have a few more creation stories to share with you before our next series. Then, we're exploring what comes after creation. Think floods, fire, giants, and maybe a little divine sibling rivalry. You know, typical growing pains of a brand new universe. I'm Penny, and this has been History, Myth, and Legend. Thanks for joining me on this mythic journey through the beginning of everything. Until next time, stay curious, stay legendary, and remember, all great stories start with a spark. Or a really loud bang.